Okay, let's check it out. Oh, this is about freaking Marathon.
So as many of you may know, Sony is making a big push for live services. It's why they bought out studios like Farwalk.
Well, they're making I guess, yeah, a big push, but they're not exactly putting a lot of effort into it.
Studios who made the epic failure that was Concord, why they bought out Bungie, and why they're having as many of their first-party studios essentially delve into the realm of live services. Though, after the failure of Concord, literally one of the biggest flops in AAA gaming history, it made literally zero money. After all that, they did cancel a bunch of live service.
Bro, how do you mess up that badly? Like, it was a legendary failure.
Projects and their plans.
Like, I'm gonna be real with you, Monos. I'm currently actively working on trying to review certain games. Let's say, and like that one in particular was just like every single like there was like nothing you could possibly like compliment that game on.
Like shipping 12 live services within the span of a couple years, that didn't quite pan out. And something else,
like the only other game I can say is worse, I feel like, is Assassin's Creed Shadows. Not even because it was like bad, but because it like actively was trying to ruin itself.
That they're pursuing currently with Bungie in particular is Bungie's next big
Concord
live
just failed.
service, Marathon. Now, the thing about Marathon is that it is not in the realm of Destiny at all. Marathon is a completely different beast, whether it's for better or for worse. I guess we'll find out at launch, but currently it's looking like for worse. So this right here, for those who don't know, is Marathon. It is an extraction shooter. It is slated to be released on...
Dude, Delta Force just has an extraction shooter on it now, too, and it's free to play.
September 23rd, 2025.
It's actually pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie.
The trailer for it,
I like it.
Gameplay overview trailer for it looks like.
Y'all play Delta Force? Let me know.
This game does definitely have a unique vibe to it. It's got this like cyberpunky, colorful, abstract, kind of almost like minimalistic in terms of shapes and textures, aesthetic to it.
Marathon is a team-based extraction shooter set around the mysterious and cutthroat world of Tau Ceti 4. You are a runner.
And if you've played Destiny,
who's given up their human form for a biosynthetic shell with unique abilities and stats.
in terms of moment-to-moment gameplay,
Tactical and fast-paced combat.
You know what? I didn't even think about it, but yeah, actually, it is
the
very,
moment-to-moment
very
combat.
reminiscent.
Across a variety of zones and points of
it definitely looks...
The LMG, by far. I'm freaking
Like that
blocking.
area is
Hold
gonna-
on. I want to freaking... I feel like we can't both be reacting at the same time, Yong Yea.
It's gonna feel good to play because Bungie is good at that in terms of gunplay feeling good, but it's the game surrounding that people have doubts about.
Colony for glory and fortune. The environments of Tau Ceti 4 are filled with weapons, materials, and equipment you can scavenge throughout.
I was disappointed because I really thought I'd be able to customize my own character, and like these are the heroes actually that you're looking at.
It's an extraction shooter, so you go in,
You'll strategically build your loadout and select a runner.
loot as much as possible,
The run ahead. Your objective is simple.
PvPvE.
Like, look at these character designs. There's a reason why they keep showing you the spiky-haired girl, because she's the only one that actually has some kind of a look to her. Everyone else is boring as hell. They look like generic stormtroopers. They look like NPCs, like background NPCs.
Make it out of line.
And you extract yourself, and then you repeat that cycle, and then kind of try to
Survive.
upgrade your character
Into future runs as you grow in power and fill your
while trying to retain your own
death.
valuable loot.
But it's never the end. Think quickly on your feet and outplay your opponents.
Because if you get downed and
You and your teammates
killed,
will be the ones coming out on top.
others can take your stuff, and along the way, there are objectives, you name it.
Factions can sponsor you with a fresh loadout, so you can get right.
So
back
yeah, you
into
kind of
fight.
get a general vibe for the game just looking at this initial portion of this trailer.
Action to the forefront. Dynamic and tactile gunplay.
I don't know. Bungie's... I don't know what the hell Bungie's doing anymore. I really didn't like Destiny because, I don't know about y'all, but I really need I like games that give you a lot of lore. I feel like that's why Marvel Rivals instantly hit with me, connected with me. It's like built-in lore, just from all the freaking comic book characters.
Play. Runners with unique play
I
styles.
love
Now,
all the
what you'll
characters
find
already.
is that
Builds create highly dynamic and strategic.
I hear them like speak to each other,
if
and
you
I know
look
exactly what they're
at
talking
the
about.
likes to dislikes ratio, you can see that there are very much mixed feelings surrounding this particular title based on what people have seen. A lot of people just generally have the sense that the game looks a bit underwhelming.
It looks like just another extraction shooter, and that's the worst thing. Let's be honest, it doesn't look terrible, it doesn't look bad, it looks like another extraction shooter, another generic extraction shooter that's going to release. It's going to get a couple of, like, players, then it's gonna freaking fade away into nothingness.
It's not what Destiny fans want. They are looking more forward to something that is that shared world type of experience that Marathon isn't really. It's more of like you go into a lobby, then you go into a match, then you get out, and then you repeat that cycle, instead of it feeling like a more kind of interconnected experience. Like, whereas Destiny had this like campaign that could be tackled together or alone,
Yeah, it had a
and
story.
it felt like it had multiple facets to it. This is just an extraction shooter.
Well, the second one had more of it. The first one had jack squat.
So scrolling down,
I don't know how the hell that
days
game
when shooters came with
made
epic
it as far as
campaigns
it
and
did.
multiplayer modes
It was
in one
boring.
package. Others are questioning its art style, saying that at times it looks really cool and other times it looks like a roadblock server. And some people are already expecting that this game won't really do all that well.
Some of the darker scenes like really impressed me. It made me feel like I was in GTFO, which was really nice.
Like this user saying, looking forward for Bungie's Twitter post announcing this game's live service cancellation due to low player count in a few weeks. Here we have the gameplay reveal trailer. Very scripted, as all gameplay trailers tend to be.
Yeah, the gameplay here was
But
very
yeah, scrolling
wonky
down
for sure.
to these comments, likes to dislikes ratio, not great. But then right here we have plenty of people expressing indifference or expressing a lack of interest or just expressing their disappointment in what Bungie is making here versus what people love.
It seems
from
very
Bungie,
slow.
especially after Destiny, saying this is the first time in my life I saw an actual game trailer look like a YouTube ad that I would skip while eating dinner. Which indie dev made this early access game? Oh wow, what a trailer. Words cannot express my indifference. Am I tripping, or was that trailer cut kind of weird, like too jumpy, trying to make it look exciting? There's this general sense that Marathon is not going to perform quite as well as Destiny. There's just this lack of enthusiasm and excitement over it, and looking at early numbers based on the closed beta, the way the game is trending also.
I think it's gonna freaking flop. I think it's just gonna absolutely flop. Like, it's because it's such a nothing burger sandwich. It looks boring as all get out.
Yes, that. Maybe it's not something that's going to catch fire. Beyond a lack of interest for the type of game that they're making here through the Marathon IP, which actually was the first game that Bungie ever made, even before Halo, the way they've converted it into an extraction shooter that is more of like a trend-chasing kind of game, and even within that, not really revolutionizing the formula all that much, combined with the fact that the closed beta has kind of shown that at launch, Marathon just seems very content dry. It doesn't have enough content to really justify its price point. And speaking of price point, the fact that it's not free to play, a lot of people are saying that based on what they played in the closed alpha,
it's a flop. It's a freaking flop. You're not even making it free to play? Nobody's gonna freaking pay for that.
it doesn't seem like the game will ultimately
The hell?
justify its $40 price point.
Oblivion Remaster just came out. Why the hell would anybody
And
buy
yes,
that?
This is closed alpha
Marvel
stage,
Rivals is
but
free.
The game does come out
Delta Force is free.
in September. That's just a couple months away.
Delta Force has an extraction shooter in it. It's
And
free.
in terms of the full
It's
offering,
badass.
as far as content is concerned, I think there's like one more map people haven't seen. There's like a couple things that will be added to the final game, but it's not going to be such a substantial transformation that it's going to change perception surrounding the game, is the general feeling. So yeah, $40 price tag is being perceived as something that will serve as a major detriment to Marathon's ability to be able to be accessible and in turn to be able to pull in successful numbers. Similarly to how Concord, another one of Sony's live service releases, because they charge money for that up front instead of making it a free-to-play experience. Well, even when it was free-to-play during the beta, that game did incredibly poor numbers, so charging money for it was always going to result in just absolute failure, which is exactly what happened. A lot of people fear that Marathon might experience something similar at a $40 price point. To me, Marathon is going through a very similar journey as Concord is, very like tepid, lukewarm reception when it comes to what's being marketed. A lot of people who've gotten their hands on it and people who have kind of researched the game or checked it out feeling like it doesn't have enough content at launch, feeling like it's not worth even $40, and feeling like the game is overall polished and, you know, it does a decent job of tackling this specific genre, whether it's, you know, in the case of Concord, hero shooter, or in the case of Marathon, extraction shooter, but it doesn't push the genre forward enough and it doesn't stand out enough on its.
Honestly, it looks lame. There's nothing that looks good. The characters all look lame. The ladies don't look sexy. The guys look weird. Nothing. There's nothing to like get your attention. Nothing appealing to it.
Or to be able to compete with the established games.
The environments
and to
look
allow
generic.
This live service to kind of become the, you know,
I don't get a vibe that there's any kind of like story or any like behind the scenes
lore. We're already
lore.
seeing a bit of the writing on the wall with Marathon, judging by the trend we're seeing with the closed alpha. Numbers in the closed alpha aren't going to be huge, obviously, because it is a closed alpha. But you can see just the way it peaked at almost 7,000 players, and then every day subsequently, we're seeing less and less players. The interest falling off this quickly.
Oh, it's gonna flop
is
hard.
Kind of an early sign of what's to come, because the final game of Marathon is not going to be that much different from what you play in the alpha. There are going to be some refinements and some content additions that weren't in the alpha, but nothing so substantial as to transform the game to convince people that, you know, if you didn't like the alpha, then you'll like the final game. It's not going to be that substantial of a difference. And then another very telling statistic is Marathon's Twitch viewership. You can see that viewership peaked in sort of the early days of the Marathon closed alpha,
Who the hell freaking streamed that?
particularly the day that the alpha went live. You can see right here that viewership peaked at roughly, 170,000 players, over 170,000 players. But then there's this huge drop off.
Immediately drop.
And there's not much in the way of recovery, highlighting that people got bored of the game pretty quickly. And then it doesn't help that games journalists and content creators who've gotten their hands on Marathon generally are expressing very mixed feelings about the game. None of them seem overly enthusiastic about it. You've got articles like this one saying that Marathon is a polished extraction shooter, but that might not be enough. It feels like it delivers a satisfying gameplay experience, but the experience around the gameplay could leave a lot to be desired. Again, just not enough meat on that bone. And this is just one example. If you go around the internet and look at all the hands-on previews, you'll find that the vast majority of them, while highlighting some of the positive elements, like the fact that it does feel polished in terms of the gameplay experience, in terms of its ability to be a long-term live service, a lot of people have skepticisms. You've already got folks like Paul Tassi here through Forbes, and Paul Tassi being someone who plays a bunch of live services, urging Sony and Bungie to delay Marathon based on experiences surrounding the closed alpha, how feature and complete it feels,
That would be
how it
smart.
feels like there's just not enough game.
Yeah, no, that would be smart. What they gotta do, they gotta delay the game. Like this here, let me tell you how to fix the game, okay? First of all, you're gonna delay the game, alright, by at least a year. You're gonna rework all the characters, and you're gonna add at least double the amount of heroes. At least, okay? Double the amount of heroes. All of them have to be sexy ladies. Well, most of them, right? Throw in a couple of sexy guys there, just beefy, chunky boys. Very sexy, chunky boys. Give us like a robot person, maybe add like a robot doggo somewhere, because doggos always get everybody happy and excited. Throw an actual campaign with some lore. And then, go ahead and release it again as a free-to-play game. And I think it might have a lot more success.
There, and how it just needs to be more fleshed out and requires just more time for this to cook. Destiny kind of set the groundwork for modern day shared world looter shooters. It did it first. It's kind of set the...
Oh, and add a team deathmatch. Definitely add a team deathmatch. You'll get yourself a lot of people who suddenly will want to play it if you add a team deathmatch.
Trend that others chased after and followed. And that's why Destiny
Battle
succeeded.
Royale.
It was kind of the first of its kind.
Ooh,
and a lot of people
Conquest,
feel
and
like
Rush.
Bungie should have just stuck
Like
with
Delta
what they're
Force.
good at and done a Destiny 3 instead of, you know, trying to chase the trend of an extraction shooter that others are a lot more established in. Marathon just tackles a genre that Bungie fans aren't interested in. And then when it comes to extraction shooter fans, they've got a lot of options already. The competition in that space is already significant, especially with Tarkov kind of dominating that space. Marathon could potentially pull a Fortnite and become the de facto extraction shooter if they support the game enough and they make some changes and...
Nah, they're not. Let me tell you why. This is Delta Force. This is a free-to-play game. You just gotta make an account. This is the competition that Marathon is going to be releasing to. Okay, of course you have Escape from Tarkov. Okay, no doubt. The de facto king of extraction shooters. But when it comes to shooters, like actual tactical shooters, okay, we're already talking about PUBG, we're talking about Call of Duty, we're talking about Battlefield, okay? We got Delta Force here. We got CSGO. And not every single one of these games, but a good amount of them don't just have one single game mode where you just play an extraction shooter and you're done. They'll have multiple game modes. Delta Force has Team Deathmatch. It has, we're here in Warfare, basically.
Make them quiver. Someone's about to get shafted.
So we have Rush, King of the Hill, which is basically Conquest. And the new one, which is the extraction shooter, which is Operations. You know, you got your classic stash, everything. You can take your equipment, switch it out. There's rarities, all that stuff. So all the classic stuff. And at this point, here's all the heroes. I'm not a big fan of the hero stuff, I'll be completely honest. I could do without Delta Force. Like, if anybody out there is, like, listening, please add a game mode, specifically all the warfare modes, but, like, with no hero, like, abilities. Please. Like, it's unnecessary. Specifically the specials, the triple blaster. Like, that stuff is just, like, it's pointless. Anyway, but whatever. Like, and a lot of the characters you can unlock for free as well if you just, like, meet some of the requirements. Currently trying to unlock this one. As you can see,
comrades, honor, and the thrill of kicking ass.
I'm just saying, there's a reason why I'm trying to unlock her first and not Uluru or Seneba, right? Like, I'm just like, there's a reason why I'm like very heavily trying to unlock this chick right now. And then I mentioned this is all free to play. Okay, hold on. Alright, that's enough. And I think Black Hawk Down, I haven't even checked that out yet, but I don't know if that's a campaign or what else is that, but that's a whole other freaking game mode. Point being, this is free to play. Marathon is gonna be paying to be able to play. And I guarantee you it's gonna freaking be chocked full of microtransactions. Calling it right now.
Really make it, you know, well above and beyond what Tarkov accomplished, but there are just skepticisms of that happening. There's this general sense that the game
not to mention Fortnite, by the way, as well. That has, like, every freaking game mode imaginable already at this point.
Drop off very quickly, especially with the trends that we're seeing on Steam and on Twitch from the closed alpha. And there's a sense that this game just won't really live long enough to see it fully fleshed out to a point where it can compete with the other extraction shooters out there. We don't live in the same era that Destiny and Destiny 2 launched in, when competition in that space was meager enough where Bungie could come in and kind of set the bar there. We are in an environment now where live services are rampant, where the space and the market is so oversaturated that even Bungie, I think, will struggle to ship their own version of an extraction shooter.
Like, there's just not enough players to go around, honestly.
And make it a success, especially when the early reception based on the trailers and the marketing that they've shown so far and the hands-on impressions have been very tepid. We'll see, I guess, what numbers look like for the open beta. It's still got the Bungie name behind it, but just because you've got a major name behind something doesn't mean that a live service will succeed, as evidenced by all of the failed live services like Anthem, which had the BioWare name behind it, Marvel's Avengers, which had the Avengers IP behind it, frickin' Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Forgot about that Marvel's
the
Avengers.
DC brand behind it, combined with the entirety of the Justice League, villains like Harley Quinn and Joker and frickin' Deathstroke, you name it, and none of it ultimately ended up appealing to folks because the game itself was just something that was not particularly interesting. It was
slop. It was absolute garbage. Like, it wasn't good. It was very, very freaking like bad gameplay.
Not what people wanted to see from a studio like
You really had the freaking like all the villains of DC, and you just gave them all force multipliers and jetpacks.
It felt very misguided. I have a bad feeling about the way this particular live service will perform. I think this may end up being a huge loss for Bungie. While I don't suspect that this will be a failure on the level of Concord, I do think the trend that we're going to see at launch is going to be similar to what we're seeing now with the closed alpha, which is a big wave of people, you know, who will check the game out because it's a new Bungie game, then realizing that it's not kind of what they want and it's not as interesting of a game as it could be. It doesn't just do enough. It's got that been there, done that aspect to it that makes it not the most exciting new release.
It's very late in the game, basically. It's very late
live
to
services
release.
that bring in more viewership, that are just more fun to play, that are more established, that are more feature complete, and Marathon is gonna fade off and unceremoniously die like so many live services have. Is the current prediction on my end based on what the general vibes are surrounding this title, but only time will tell. In the meantime, though, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the current state of Marathon, what you think about the game itself and the type of genre it's pursuing, and whether you think Marathon will succeed or whether you think it'll be another dead live service. Are you on the side of the fence of it's worth giving this game a chance, or are you on the side of the fence of like this game feels like it's going to be dead on arrival? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yea. I'll see you guys next time. Yong Yea.
Alright, no, honestly, freaking I think the game's just gonna be like flat out a flop from the very beginning. It's freaking done. And I'll be honest with you, the major reason why I think is it's a three-parter. First of all, the game is just boring. Visually unappealing in every way, shape, and form. And this is coming from somebody who really, really likes the force multipliers in the game. I'm really a big fan of it. But the characters all look like generic, like they look like generic bootleg Power Rangers, that you would see like in the bootleg toys you would get in like Mexico. Especially the ones with the giant buckets helmets. They're just weird looking. Well, screw it, we'll leave it here.
Of Tau Ceti 4. You are a runner.
Like, look at that. Like, come on now. that looks like a generic Power Ranger, like a bootleg Power Ranger. So of course, if your freaking heroes don't look freaking amazing, so that nobody like, you need people to want to like these characters or like the designs and want to like play as these characters and stuff. Nobody's gonna want to play like this. Look at how they look at Borderlands 4. Characters look a little bit cooler now. I'm liking it now. It's looking a little bit more dope. This got no personality, and so I'm not a big fan of it. On top of that, the whole world just seems like, I don't get it. Like, is it in like out in the nature, but it's also like way too freaking like blocky, like, but it don't make sense kind of blocky. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't look. It doesn't fit any particular theme or vibe to me. It just feels like it's.
And if you've played Destiny,
it feels like it's lost. It's trying to figure out what the frick it's supposed to be. And so it's like, you got unappealing characters. You got a world that nobody's gonna care about if you don't give it like an amazing lore. Flat out. And this last one, and I'm assuming that's mainly assuming because it's Bungie, right? I'm going based off of Destiny. I'm assuming they're not gonna exactly give us a freaking phenomenal freaking 4-star freaking story this time around, just like last time. Based on how it's doing in the freaking alpha, I would assume the gameplay's not gonna be that fun. It didn't look that much fun either, so those are the 3 major issues that I've noticed with it. Might be wrong. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. But it doesn't help when the freaking Concord developers are coming out to defend the game. It just sort of gives people the idea that this might be just another one of those games, and you know, and so you might actually, rather than helping out Marathon by coming out to defend it, you might actually be hurting it. So maybe the Concord developers should shut up and not like say anything, because you're gonna get people to not want to play this game. We'll see how it goes, though. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and become a Monodachi today! I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi! That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut!